It's time to get down to business on TK Business Live, brought to you by the members of the Topeka Independent Business Association. Now, let's join Tara Dimmick, owner and publisher of TK Business Magazine, as we take a look into the business world of Topeka, Kansas.
Hi, and welcome to TK Business Live. I'm Tara Dimmick, and it's great to be with you this Sunday. We've got a packed lineup coming up. We've got Michele McCormick with YW and Brian Green joining us with AllState. They're going to talk a little bit about Domestic Violence Awareness Month that's going on right now. Then Megan Yaussi of TPAC, the Topeka Performing Arts Center, will be joining us to talk about all the different things happening over at TPAC, as well as to talk about some of the different options that businesses have to utilize the space. And then Jennifer Owen, owner of Marion Lane Candles and one of the organizers with the TedX Topeka Women, is going to join us to talk more about what's going on with TedX Topeka Women, which will be happening this week. I have Michele McCormick joining me. She's the program director over at for the YW Center for Safety and Empowerment. And Brian Green is joining me. He's with the local, he's the local agency owner of AllState Insurance Company. I just told him I was going to botch that up, and I still botched it up. And I wrote it all down and did all that good stuff and still messed that all up. But Michele and Brian are here to talk about domestic violence. And we just finished up Domestic Violence Week, but October is all about domestic violence. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So October is designated nationally as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And so our agency, of course, is making a big push during the month to bring awareness to the issue and how it's impacting our local community. We did just have the Week Without Violence, which is the National YWCA's focused campaign to bring awareness. And so every year, the third week of October is the Week Without Violence, which we tend to fill with a number of activities to raise awareness and to reach out to those in our community.
Great. So tell me about some of the things that are going on.
Yeah. So we kicked off last Saturday with a film festival that was in partnership with the YWCA's Girls on the Run program. It was called Luna Fest, and it was sponsored by Luna Bar. And they really made an effort to create films that were for women, by women, in order to bring some of those issues to the forefront. And then we did a focused effort of training for clergy members. We were trying to engage the faith community and helping them to craft their responses when their parishioners come and disclose that they're being victimized. And then we had a number of efforts where we were partnering with Washburn University, and so doing some awareness activities with them. The university held a Walk a Mile in Her Shoes event.
That's a great event.
Yeah, which we benefited from. They raised some funds for us, and we do some tabling in their union and a number of ways to reach out to those students. But the big event every year that we have been hosting for over 20 years has been our annual March and Rally. And so that's where folks gather at the State House. We have some different speakers to highlight some issues, and then we march with our signs from the Capitol to the YWCA building downtown, and are fortunate that we have support of our local law enforcement because the Sheriff's Department grilled us up some hot dogs, and everybody tends to have a good time at that event. So
that's great. That's great. Yeah. So talk about why that's important.
Yeah, I think that domestic violence just classically is an issue that people are uncomfortable talking about. When you have been victimized or you're a survivor, it tends to be something that you don't share with folks. It's not something that you tend to be very vocal about. And so we have found that one way that we can combat the issue is by bringing some of this stuff into the light. And so by bringing awareness and creating a dialogue in our community, we really hope that we can accomplish a few things. One, of course, is to get folks to our agency to get services. And so that we can reach folks who maybe are scared to access support services that we offer. But two, we think the second responsibility we have is to really try to create culture change and really talk about these issues so that even if you haven't been directly impacted, that everyone has an understanding that this issue and this kind of violence has an impact on our community in a number of ways. And so we want to talk about it. We want to bring awareness to the issue, and I think people would be surprised to learn, I just crunched our quarterly statistics, that in the last 3 months, so July, August, and September, our agency sheltered 81 individuals, so adults and children. We took over 500 hotline calls in 3 months, and we provided over 1,000 counseling services. And that's just in one quarter for us. And so I need folks to understand that you might not think that this is happening in your neighborhood or in your community or in your friend group, but it really is. And so it's important that folks know where to go to get help.
Well, it's obviously important. So, Brian, talk a little bit about how AllState's been involved.
Well, AllState has over 5,000 agency owners across the country, and their goal is, our goal is to protect and prepare people. And AllState felt it was really very aligned with what we do, in that so much of domestic violence is in women feeling trapped. They don't have the money, the resources to be able to get out of a bad situation. Mm-hmm. And so as we work to help people prepare, for retirement, prepare for their future, some of that is, giving them a resource to be able to get out of that situation. And so we're very fortunate that we have a company that wants to invest in their communities to make them a better place. And so they took the lead over 10 years ago through their AllState Foundation, which is their charitable arm, and have started to just continue to grow this program, where they challenge local community organizations to be involved. They've asked them to apply to the foundation, and then they take different groups every year that they think they can benefit with, and give them the resources to promote this month, and give them money to help them combat domestic violence in our local communities where the agents work. So it's a really big deal for them. Since 2005, they put over $50 million into this program between what they've contributed and what they've helped to raise. So they really are fully behind it through local grants, and then through these challenge acts, as well as the resources they're providing.
That's incredible. It's a great, and very worthy cause.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think our agency depends on having the support from our community, including corporate partners like AllState. And so we're very grateful for that partnership.
So, we kind of got talking about the involvement of corporate partners, but there's a really valid interest that they have in this. In some of the bigger companies, but even in the smaller companies, you have a high likelihood that you don't just have one person in a domestic violence situation, but you might have several. Absolutely. And so even as a business owner, I think about this for myself, or as a supervisor of employees, you might see it. You might notice a change in someone, or a behavior difference, or even something physical. How do we help?
Yeah, I think that to make sure that people understand that you don't have to save someone, right? There are actually some small things that you can do so that people have a tendency to feel overwhelmed by this issue. And I want you to know that there are 3 simple things that we think about that we would recommend you do. And we recommend you support survivors, you educate yourself, and then there are some actions you can take. And by supporting those who are being victimized or who have survived this issue, it's really simple. When somebody does get the courage to bring it to light that this is what's going on with them, and believe me, that's probably the hardest conversation to start. But once it's started, we want people to know is that you should believe them, and you should provide them emotional safety to tell their story. So if you're an employer, if you're a friend, please make sure you're carving out enough time, because this is going to be a very difficult thing for them to discuss and disclose. And then we want you to, what you could do in advance, of course, is get some education about the issue, and know how it's affecting your employees. It's probably affecting the bottom line for most businesses, because we do work with a number of people who have to miss work because of injuries, to be quite blunt, or because they just have to take time off to deal with the court system, or a number of reasons. but it's also actually a strategy that those who are abusing use is to disrupt their partner's employment.
Right. Well, get them fired.
Yeah. And so, so being supportive and understanding that some of those dynamics are out of their control. If their abusive partner is calling 150 times a day to try to get them in trouble, rather than going to the employee and saying, you've got to go, we can't handle this, you figure out a way to join them and be their partner in it and figure out a safe way in order to help them, but also address how that's impacting your business. And then finally, we would just ask that you know where to refer them to. It's my job to help victims and intervene in that and provide them with safety planning and counseling and support groups and all the things our agency does. But if folks can get them to us, and that's a difficult step for many to take, then that's absolutely something you could do.
So talk a little bit about what some of the corporations just here locally have done to help domestic violence victims.
Yeah, we have a number of partners who have really done some innovative things. I would give a lot of credit, for example, to Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas, the one based out of here in Topeka, because 15 years ago, they had this innovative idea to start a program. They call it the SAVE program, and it really is they have educated their supervisors and their management team to understand how it is more cost effective, and the better thing to do is to support their employees who identify that they have been victimized. And so they help create some accommodations for them. And so, for example, if someone has had to file a protection order, which is a legal restraining order, a type of restraining order, then if they disclose that to their HR person who's been specially trained in domestic violence, then they can help make accommodations. So if they need a different parking stall, if they need to adjust their work schedule, if they need time off from work in order to go to court, they just have done whatever they could in order to support their employee who's being victimized. And alternately, this is interesting to me. Blue Cross and Blue Shield has really started recently to take an interest in how do they respond to their employees who they believe are being the abuser.
Oh, wow.
And so they're really trying to look now at their protocols about how they get the person who's using the violence into the specialized programs that are out there for them as well. And so it's just been proactive, and we appreciate their partnership. And then they alternately went to Westar and said, you know, this program's worked great for us. You all should consider developing a program. And so then Westar and Blue Cross Blue Shield, two larger employers in our community, both have developed those internal programs. So,
well, it's a really exciting program. And as innovative as it is, it could be in every single business's employee handbook, right? I mean, it could be a policy within every company. There's really no holding back from something like that.
Absolutely. And, you know, the state has done, I think, a pretty great job at developing some unemployment protections for victims of domestic violence. So if they need to leave their job because of domestic violence due to safety, they can apply for unemployment and be granted unemployment. And there are also some exceptions to, you know, if you don't have paid leave in your job, you can get a certain number of days. It's up to 7 days of leave in order to go to court or to access services from a domestic violence agency. So the state has done a good job as well of creating some structure so that businesses can be good employers to those who are being victimized.
Yeah, that's incredible. And again, thanks to AllState and companies like yours that are willing to invest and put the money where the help is.
Yeah, you know, and I think it's so much more than the money. It's, you know, putting the time in our communities. You know, I think most of us know somebody, or even if we are not aware of that person, we probably know somebody that is or has gone through domestic violence. And so, you know, for us to be aware of that, I mean, the numbers are 1 in 4 women will experience it at some point. And so, you know, what an unbelievable statistic. You know, more than breast cancer, ovarian cancer, and lung cancer combined will be impacted. And so, you know, that's a terrible thing in our community, and none of us are better for that. And so, you know, to be involved in these types of events, to be involved in people's lives and to communicate, to give them the support they need, you know, we're really proud to be a part of it here locally. I've got a lot of ladies in my office that are really excited to be a part of this, and even the guys. It's something that we can do to be better partners in the community, to be better neighbors, and certainly to take a lot of stress and problems off of people's plates that they certainly don't deserve.
That's awesome. Michele and Brian, thank you so much for joining me. I'm not going to let you go without telling me, how do we get more information about this?
Yeah, absolutely. We would recommend that if folks need to contact us in an emergency, our hotline is available 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365. And that number is 888-822-2983. And then our website, of course, is ywcaneks.org. So the YWCA of Northeast Kansas.org. And then we have Facebook, we have Twitter, we've got all the social media, so they can find us there. And certainly people have contacted us through those mediums. And so, that's how you can reach us. And we would encourage anyone who needs to contact us to please do so.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Glad to be here.
My name is Jennifer Kermis, Vice President of Business Development with the Jura Credit Union.
TIBA is advice and support. TIBA is information and education. TIBA is a voice for small businesses.
My biggest advantage would be being able to network and get to know who all of the members are of TIBA and how their businesses operate, what the different needs are for their business, and really get to understand the different business opportunities that are out there in Topeka.
The Topeka Independent Business Association is strong because of its members. Become a member today by visiting topekatiba.org.
I have Megan Yaussi joining me. She's the Director of Marketing for the Topeka Performing Arts Center. Welcome, Megan.
Thank you.
All right, so I have Megan here to talk about all the cool things that are going on over at TPAC. So what's on schedule here over the holidays coming up and everything going on?
We have a lot jam-packed into just this year in 2016, and then, of course, 2017 is coming up. But our very next show is October 28th. It's Big Head Blues Club. It has three different artists. Big Head Todd and the Monsters, Mud Morganfield, and there are four, Billy Branch, and Ronnie Baker Brooks. So all very well known, great artists. And then also in October the 30th is Teresa Caputo live. She's the Long Island Medium.
Ooh, I used to watch that show all the time.
Yeah, very
all
good
the
show.
Time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you'd walk up to somebody in a supermarket or somewhere and just be like,
on the street.
Somebody needs to talk to you right now.
Yes, and that's similar to what she'll be doing. She'll be walking through the audience, doing some live readings, and very cool.
That's awesome. That sounds like
excited,
fun.
Yeah. And one of the next things after that, November 4th is actually First Friday, and we're doing a sock hop. It's a little fundraiser for TPAC, but it'll be a lot of fun. So tickets are really cheap, $12 a person, $20 a couple.
Do you go online? Go ahead and go to TPAC just like you would for other tickets?
Yeah, you can get them on Ticketmaster, through our website, or directly from Ticketmaster. So either one's fine. But
and do you show up dressed up for sock hop?
You can. You don't have to, but definitely encouraged with the poodle skirts, the Mary Janes.
That's awesome.
So shortly after that, we have Gingerbread Homes for the Holidays, also another fundraiser, but one that's really great for families and kids. We'll have Santa, the trains, all sorts of entertainment. They get to build gingerbread houses, just kind of a whole abundance of things, even a little place you can buy some gifts and stuff.
Awesome. Now, how do you do you have to get tickets for that, or do you come? How does that work?
Yeah, it's a pay-at-the-door thing.
Okay.
There's no tickets in advance, so it's just $3 a person.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, very reasonable. We do have some school-time theater shows that are coming during the day. A lot of that, the school kids come, but, daycare centers or even just stay-at-home moms that want to bring their kids in are definitely encouraged. November 18th is the Winter Dance Party. It's John Mueller's Winter Dance Party. Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper are the three that will be portrayed. So very good songs like La Bamba. My son's been singing that in school lately, so that was pretty cool.
That was one of my favorite songs.
Yeah. And then Fame the Musical is November 19th. So
that's a good one.
That's going to be a very good one. And we will actually be doing a contest coming up for 2 adults and 2 kids locally that can be walk-on extras in the in the show. So,
oh, cool.
Yeah, keep an eye on Facebook for that.
Okay. So be checking out Facebook.
So,
Where for TPAC, is it under TPAC or is it under Topeka Performing Arts Center?
It is TPAC TIX. So
Okay.
TPAC TIX.
So go like that on Facebook so that you kind of are paying attention, at least in some sort of knowing what's going on too.
Yeah,
I'm sure
and
there's
that's
lots of good stuff.
definitely the best way to keep in touch with us. Feel free to send us a message. We respond really quickly if you have any questions about anything. Our website has an abundance of information, but yeah, don't ever hesitate to reach out.
Great. Okay, so then another reason I really wanted you to come in as well was to talk about all the space that you have. So there's lots of businesses that are trying to figure out where are they going to do their holiday event, or where are they going to do strategic planning in the beginning of the year, or how are we going to fit this huge group somewhere and have a band come, or whatever the entertainment might be. So talk a little bit about the space that TPAC actually offers.
Well, most people are familiar with the theater, which has a capacity of about a little over 2,400 people. So depending on the size of your event, that's definitely an option. It's rentable and available for that. And we have 6 other rooms, in between downstairs and the main floor there that are available space-wise. Some of them range from just 50 as a capacity all the way up to 400. So varying depending on, wedding receptions or weddings themselves. Like you mentioned, the strategic planning, any conferences, corporate events,
right? I didn't even think about conferences.
Holiday parties are definitely a big thing around the holiday time. Definitely can give us a call and we can get something worked up for you. And we do everything from the catering all the way up to, audio and visual. So we have a wide array of options and opportunities.
So a good choice if you just want to be able to go somewhere, have everything kind of handled as far as those nuggets, where you just show up and you get it done well. The conference was one that I hadn't thought about, but you have all those rooms, so it's great for breakout sessions, the downstairs big area as well as being up. And then if the conference is smaller, you have those what are those? The curtains. I went to the Addy Awards last year and they brought these beautiful, huge black curtains down and kind of shortened.
It does. It makes the theater appear smaller than what it is, so it doesn't seem like you have this vast open space, if that's the area that would work best for you. So we can accommodate more than the 400, but if you don't need 2,400, then we can
make that work
make
as well.
It work out, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so real quick, give us the website and how people can get more information about you.
It's TopekaPerformingArts.org. And basically everything you need to know is in there.
Awesome. It's nice when it's all in one place.
It is.
All right, Megan, thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm with Jennifer Owen. She's the owner over at Marion Lane Candles, if you've been over there in Brookwood. But she's also an organizer with TedX Women, which is a really cool event that's coming to Topeka this week. Well, it's not just coming to Topeka. It is Topeka, right?
It is Topeka, absolutely. It's part of the TedX Topeka franchise that we have been doing. And this will be our third event. So this year it's a little bit different, where it is TedX Topeka Women. So it's focused on issues and talks that directly affect women and girls and empowerment, those kind of things that we talk about all of the time. So
what drove you guys to do the women? Because before it's been TedX Topeka, where anyone could talk about anything. I mean, anything. They sang all kinds of cool stuff.
Absolutely.
So what made women be the focus for this one?
This one's, again, a little bit different. So what we'll be doing is simulcasting the actual live TED Women event that is happening. So that will be in addition to the live speakers that we'll have here in Topeka. So we'll have kind of that national world view at the beginning of the event. And then at the end of the event, we'll have the live speakers from here.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah,
so tell me about some of the speakers that we will be hearing from. Can you share a little bit about that?
I can share a little bit about it. We also have on our website, TedXTopeka.com, they have all of the speaker bios along with more detailed information about what they're going to be speaking on. But we do have Dr. New, the principal at Highland Park, who has a great topic that she's going to be discussing. And then very exciting, we have a 15-year-old, Sophie, who is from Shawnee Heights, who's going to be talking about feminism from her point of view as a high school student. And her talk is absolutely amazing, and everybody should just get tickets to see her and everything else that we have going on. That's
awesome. Well, I have to share, my daughter and we talked very seriously about what is it? You have to try out.
Well, an application process.
And we decided last minute not to do it, but we did that article on masks a couple issues back.
Yes.
And Hope wrote the poem. And then some of the things that happened afterwards were really interesting. And so we kind of wanted to share that story, but she is only 13. So I'm glad to hear there's somebody 15 because she was only 13 and we just kind of got going and we're like, yeah, I don't know if she's ready for this. And so next year. So yes, we definitely need to see her. That was an awesome poem that she wrote and an article that you guys did. So that would be great. We had over 50 speaker applications for this event, and to be able to narrow it down to 7 speakers from around here was a difficult process, but I think we have some great speakers for people to see. I agree. It's going to be awesome. Okay, so tickets, are they still available?
Tickets are still available until Sunday night, so tonight, and they're $35 a piece or $25 if you have a student ID. So you can still get those. That includes dinner, that includes the streaming, that includes the live portion of the show as well. And the streaming part is going to start at 4 o'clock. If you can't make it at 4, the live speakers will be starting at 7. So you can come before that as well.
Awesome. It sounds like a fabulous event. Okay, so I've still got you.
You do.
So I want to talk about Marion Lane Candles because there's several of us who may know Marion Lane Candles for a long time, and you've taken over ownership. How's it going?
It's going great. We have changed some things. The product itself, the way the candles were made, the melts, all of that is exactly the same. We have a different focus. I've never done retail or made candles or anything like that before in my life. So I always had more of a business background. So we're focusing a lot on corporate sales and on wholesale parts of it. The candles are now available at Hy-Vee on 29th and Wanamaker here in Topeka. And we have corporate gifts, incentives, volunteer programs that we're doing, different things like that. So it's really been exciting to be able to build on that side of it since the product itself is, in my opinion, one of the best candles and melt products that you can buy. So
it is. So what happened, not being in retail, what happened to be like, that's what I'm going to do when I grow up?
Yeah, I don't know, actually.
I have that answer for a lot of things,
too.
I
really don't know what happened. Sometimes I think I lost my mind when I said that, but it's been a fun process. The job I had before, I was working all the time, and I never felt like I saw my daughter. And so doing this, she can come to the store, she can work, she wants to own a candle store when she grows up. So she's having a great time with it. So we just get to spend a lot more time together than what we were before. So I think it's kind of a quality of life thing along with just the fact that who doesn't want to own their own business sometime?
Right. No, I have to agree. Actually, my story of TK is, are you interested? Yes. I didn't look at much of anything. I think I said yes, and then I was like, I probably should look at some stuff.
And I think I did that exact same thing. And it's probably best to just completely jump in because otherwise you'd never do it.
Well, that's awesome. It is so great to have you here, and I look forward to a lot of success with Marion Lane Candles and TedX Women.
Yes. Thanks, Tara.
Thanks so much for joining us on TK Business Live, and a shout out to our sponsor, the Topeka Independent Business Association. And thanks to my guests, Brian Green with AllState, Michele McCormick with the YW, Jennifer Owen with Marion Lane Candles and TedX Topeka Women, and Megan Yaussi with Topeka Performing Arts Center. Have a great Sunday.
Thanks for joining Tara and her guests on TK Business Live. Join us again next Sunday at 11:30 to hear more from our community business leaders, entrepreneurs, and people making a difference in the landscape of how business is progressively moving forward in Topeka. TK Business Live is brought to you by the members of the Topeka Independent Business Association.